First time in Romania, first time at Chef Talks, Osher Eidelman. Welcome to Romania.
Thank you, it's
Hope
good
you
to be here.
enjoyed the stay here.
Yep.
What brings you here in Bucharest?
Well, Israel is celebrating its 70th anniversary. It's 70. It's like a grandmother now. And the embassy invited me to do an event for 1,000 people. 1,000 people at the David Intercontinental Hotel here in Bucharest.
Okay.
And I'm going to cook Israeli food, like simple, tasty, colorful Israeli food.
You work with the local team here?
Of course, and they are so cool. So they invited me into their kitchen, into the cool rooms, into their environment, into their home, and they were very friendly and working hard and fast and smart. And,
You're fancy.
Yeah.
Let's go back a little bit in the history, in your history.
Mm-hmm.
After a couple of years working in the kitchen, you decided to leave and to go back to school.
Yes, I decided to leave, but I know that the kitchen is here, It's not here, it's here. So I knew I'm going to come back, but I left to university to study nutrition and food science. So I did 2 bachelors in 4 years. It was really hard, but I really wanted to expand, my horizons.
That's a tough decision to go back in school after so many years working in a professional kitchen. It's so important for a cook, for a chef, to learn every day the new things.
Yeah. Our job is to never feel too comfortable and never feel that we know everything, because we don't. And in the kitchen, everybody knows it. You learn all the time new things. But for me, it was not only about culinary. It was also about, I wanted to understand more about the human body and about how food can be medicine to people.
To understand the process.
To understand the process, and I think chefs sometimes we get caught up with technique, and technique is beautiful, but we also need to understand the science behind the food. And I'm not talking about molecular cuisine. I'm not talking about powders and air and this and that. I'm talking about understand what is an emulsion, and understand how what's inside an egg, what's in the white, what's in the yellow, what happens when it gets old, how the tissue of the fish is different from a tissue of a cow when we cook it, and what happens in the pan, and all those things. It looks obvious because they teach us, you sear the meat, you put it in the oven, okay, but then if you don't understand,
let them rest.
Yeah,
but what's happened in those 7 important minutes?
Yeah, so Heston Blumenthal, for example, is a very famous chef, and he helped a lot of cooks to understand better. But his origins, he learned from a person called Harold McGee. Have you heard about Harold McGee? He's got a book. It actually, my first cooking book had no recipes. Because you don't need recipes, it's about understanding. And Harold McGee wrote a book, it's called On Food and Cooking, where there's, I think, 10 or 12 chapters. Each chapter one is about eggs, one is about dairy, one is about meat, one is about seafood and fish, and about beer, wine, chocolate, and you really understand on the history, the science behind each one, and the variety behind each one, and there's no recipes. And you can read it, and I think this is the best book for chefs.
What's your favorite dish to cook?
My favorite dish to cook is my mother's eggplants. Yes, she just peels them, cuts them into round discs, 1 centimeter thick. She crumbs them like schnitzel, like you put flour, egg, breadcrumbs, you deep fry it, you take it out. It has there's no culinary logic in this dish, but it's so good. She fries those, she's make eggplant schnitzels. She takes them out, and then she makes a sauce with tomatoes, garlic, chili, paprika, a little bit black pepper. Yeah.
Sounds very good.
It's really good, and then you put the eggplants inside, and they're crispy. but there's no logic of making something crispy and then putting it inside sauce because it's not crispy, but it's amazing. I love it with a good piece of bread.
Except this one, because it's probably one of your favorites. What else do you like to eat?
What, at home or outside?
Whatever.
Wow, I like everything. I think my favorite thing in the world, if you tell me, Osher, you sentence to death and this is your last meal, okay, I will order oysters. 12 oysters or 24 oysters or 120 oysters.
Some Tabasco?
No, not Tabasco, no? Just clean lemon juice and oysters from all over the world so I can taste the ocean from all over the world, and that's what I want.
For the last time?
Yes.
Do you have a particular cooking innovation or a cooking technique that you love?
Fermenting. I think fermentation is also healthy. If we talk about nutrition, is something that's important. Cabbage. I think white cabbage with salt.
Do you know here in Romania we're experts on.
I know all of Europe does it.
Fermenting.
I've seen all the garlic and the fermented garlic and fermented cabbage. I think it's super important to eat fermented food.
It's a new trend actually.
It's an old trend, but it's becoming it's a retro. It's coming back. But I think chefs in kitchens should start making their own sauerkraut, their own pickling, and all this stuff is coming back. And especially if we want to stay in touch with seasons, and that's what we always try to do: stay with the season.
What do you love the most in the Israeli kitchen?
Freshness. We use a lot of herbs and a lot of spices. But actually, what I love about the Israeli cuisine is that we eat a lot of street food, and the street food is really big in our cuisine. Some places are it's the fine dining restaurants that define the cuisine, and in Israel, I think the street food is and the grandmothers together they define our cuisine. And on the street, in the past,
the grandmothers cooked.
Yeah,
in the street actually.
Cooked in the street, and the grandmothers actually set the tone. But today you can go and have grandmother food on the street food, and the fact that it's a melting pot, you can really get street food like Iraqi style, and you can get street food that is Moroccan, and you can get all that cool food inside a pita bread. We eat everything in pita bread, pita pocket.
And you have the hummus.
And we have the hummus not only for when the walls are cracked. You can fix it with that. Nah, but we use the hummus. We eat it a lot. And you know what? When people talk with me about superfoods, people go and buy goji berry and spirulina and all that shit. They just need to eat hummus. You just need to eat chickpeas and beans and lentils and all those things. Hummus is maybe we eat chickpeas with tahini. Okay? But the Greeks, they have their faba. Everybody,
which is tasty.
It's very tasty, not as good as ours, but it's tasty. So we need to eat more legumes, and the hummus is a very good way to do it. And don't do it from a canned chickpeas.
Oh yeah.
Never. It's a big no-no.
Except emergency situation.
Emergency, yes. Hunger.
I noticed you're very proud about your kitchen and your history and all that. How does it look? Those days, the Israeli kitchen. What are the trends?
Okay, so
country.
Few things. First of all, the Israeli cuisine is becoming more and more known in the world. For example, there's a restaurant in London that won Restaurant of the Year in England called El Palomar, and then another one in New York that won Restaurant of the Year called Timna. And they both serve Israeli food, but not hummus. You won't find hummus and falafel there. So this is, it's becoming well known. But the trends within the cuisine, within Israel, I think it's more like less meat, less chicken in the center of the meal, and more vegetables. We give the vegetables the stage, like we say in Hebrew. They are becoming they're stealing the show. And we have a whole cauliflower as a roast, and you can cook the cabbage all night in stock, and then have it on the table, cut up like you carve, I don't know, like beef shoulder or whatever at the table.
It's cabbage changing. Is the new steak.
Man,
I think it's healthier like this.
Yeah, we actually I have a dish of cabbage steak in a bun.
Oh,
like
really?
in a pumpkin bun.
I didn't knew it, but
Maybe next
know.
time. Maybe next time. But yeah, really, like the vegetables in the center, and everybody wants to eat their grandmother's food. It's very popular in Israel to talk about your grandmother and cry about her food. But yeah, it's becoming more and more trendy, and you know, when you take your chef skills and you combine it with the flavors of the grandmother they bring in their skill, you can make amazing food. You just gotta give it sometimes a fresh twist, and but keep the original flavor. That's what I always say to young chefs. I teach in a cooking school in Israel, and I always tell the young chefs, the young cooks, first of all they're cooks, and then they become chefs. And second, first learn the old school. First learn the basic flavors that people love, and then go and make foams.
Traditional dishes.
Yeah, you have to. For example, if a Romanian chef wants to learn how to make falafel and wants to learn how to make hummus, he has to come to Israel and try it. It's like I can't cook a really good mititei or chorba without coming here and to taste it at the most, you know, the old school place that makes it the original.
I had 24 hummuses in Israel.
That's a record. You should check with Guinness. You should check with the Guinness guys. Maybe you have a record.
So Osher, thank you for accepting my invitation in my cooking show here in Romania. I hope I'll see you again here, because we have an amazing cuisine, a local one with very good ingredients.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I look forward to try everything.
This is the Israeli interview with Chef Osher. Chef Talks goes on, so see you next time.
See you.